Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, my name is Diana and today I will be presenting a topic titled Reading and Analyzing Leni Marlinas' poems, The Secret Garden of Humanity in Your Heart. In this presentation, I will guide you through a brief introduction to the poet Leni Marlina, a reading of selected poems from The Secret Garden of Humanity in Your Heart, and an analysis of the meanings, messages, and human values contained in her work. The main purpose of this presentation is to understand how poetry can serve as a medium for reflecting humanity and to explore the deeper messages expressed through literary language. Without further delay, let us move on to the next slide. On this slide, I will explain the analysis of the first poem titled The Secret Garden of Humanity in Your Heart. First, title and speaker. The title suggests an inner garden that represents love, compassion, and humanity within each person. The speaker addresses friends, which gives the poem a universal and inclusive tone. It feels like the poet is speaking to all of us, not just one individual. Next, tone and mood. The tone of the poem is gentle and hopeful. It creates a calm, peaceful, and reflective atmosphere, inviting readers to think about kindness and empathy. Next, structure and sound. The poem is written in free verse, meaning it does not follow a strict rhyme or rhythm. However, the smooth flow of the lines help to support its thoughtful and meaningful tone. Next, figurative language. This poem uses several metaphors. The heart is compared to a garden, tears are described like rivers, and love is symbolized as bread and water. These metaphors emphasize growth, care, nourishment, and the idea that love must be maintained. Finally, the central theme of the poem is human kindness. It encourages readers to nurture love even during difficult times and reminds us that compassion is essential for humanity. That concludes the explanation for this slide. Next, I will continue to the following poem and its analysis. Now, I will explain the analysis of the second poem titled The Resonant Silence Within You. First, title and speaker. The title suggests a quiet but powerful inner voice, like a conscience that speaks through silence. The speaker appears gentle and caring, guiding readers toward self-reflection and awareness. The tone of the poem is emotional, deep, and reflective. Even though it explores inner struggle, there is still a sense of hope and encouragement. This poem is written in free verse and uses strong imagery and metaphors. Expressions like a candle burning at both ends and poison trapped in sweetness reflects emotion tension, inner conflict, and the complexity of human experience. The poem emphasizes self-awareness and spiritual return. It encourages readers to confront emptiness within themselves and to find the strength to return to truth, grief, and inner peace. On this slide, I will present the analysis of the third poem titled Not Merely Want. First, title and tone. The title itself rejects the idea that pain is the only thing that defines a person. It suggests that wounds are not the end, but part of a larger journey. The tone of the poem is caring and encouraging, motivating readers to rise above their suffering rather than be trapped by it. Next, language and imagery. The poem uses powerful imagery to describe emotional pain. The heart is portrayed as a burning house, and the body is imagined as a battlefield showing intense struggle. There are also symbols like fire, garden, and light, which represent patience, healing, and hope. These images show that pain is not just destruction, but also transformation. The central theme of the poem is that pain can become a path to healing and spiritual growth. When suffering is accepted and understood, it can lead to strength, wisdom, and inner renewal. That concludes the explanation for this slide. I will continue with the next poem in the following slide. On this slide, I will discuss the fourth poem titled To Your Fractured Body. First, title and imagery. The title highlights both a physical and spiritual wounds. The word fractured symbolizes not only bodily pain but also emotional and personal struggles. Through this imagery, the poem acknowledges that brokenness is part of the human experience. Next, style. The poet uses brief but vivid imagery to express how pain can lead to renewal. The writing style is concise yet powerful, showing that even in moments of damage, there is potential for growth and change. Finally, the main theme of the poem is transformation through brokenness. It suggests that when we accept our pain rather than hide it, we gain wisdom, strength, and spiritual rebirth. Embracing our fractures allows healing and inner transformation to begin. That wraps up the explanation for this slide. I will continue to the next poem in the following slide. Now we move on to the fifth poem, Friends and Homeland. This poem highlights how personal relationship and national identity are deeply connected. It portrays friendship and homeland not as two separate things, but as something intertwined, as if caring for one's friends is also a form of devotion to the homeland. The tone used in the poem is passionate and patriotic. It carries a strong moral sense, suggesting that love for the nation comes from deep emotional conviction and ethical responsibility. To convey this, the poem uses natural imagery such as fire, water, soil, and wind. These elements symbolize unity and strength, showing how people remain resilient together through challenges. Overall, the main theme is that patriotism is not just about loyalty to its country, but also about moral commitment to justice, solidarity, and collective memory. It frames love for the homeland as something grounded in shared values and human connection. Now we move on to the poem Faithful in the Darkness. This poem stands out because of its short stanzas, sharp rhythm, and strong emotional intensity. The language is very bold, using both religious and militaristic metaphors. For example, faith is described like a spear and longing is portrayed as a shield. This makes the message feel both spiritual and combative at the same time. In terms of imagery, fire appears again, but here it represents loss or despair. Instead of destruction, the poem turns this despair into strength. It emphasizes that staying true to one's ideals and to love, even when facing hardship, is not just endurance but an act of resistance. The central theme of the poem is endurance in the face of suffering. It shows that loyalty to values and to love can become a revolutionary force when tasted by darkness. So faith here is not passive, it becomes active, courageous, and transformative. For this poem titled I Will Never Leave You, My Homeland, the message is framed as a personal oath of loyalty. The poem presents the connection to the homeland not just as a duty, but as a sacred and unbreakable bond. It portrays national commitment as something deeply emotional and moral. The tone of the poem is defined, steadfast, and warm. There is a strong sense of determination, but it's expressed with affection and sincerity rather than aggression. The speaker's loyalty feels both protective and heartfelt. In terms of structure and device, the poem relies on parallel structure, which helps strengthen the sense of unity and continuity. Repetition is also used effectively to intensify emotional conviction, making the promise to the homeland feel even more powerful and unforgettable. Conclusion: Leni Marlinas' anthology is not just a collection of poems, it's a spiritual and philosophical journey. Through her writing, she explores the deep layers of humanity, what it means to feel pain, to endure hardship, to hold on to faith, and to search for a sense of belonging. By using consistent metaphors, sacred imagery, and profound empathy, she creates verses that speak to both the individual soul and the human experience as a whole. Each poem stands on its own, but together they form a constellation of shared meaning. Ultimately, her work delivers one powerful message: everyone carries the potential for healing, and within every soul, there's a garden waiting to bloom.